This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm still trying to get over the fact that somehow, after all they've been through, the Miami Heat are in the Eastern Conference Finals and playing the Celtics again. And Orlando, I don't think that truly will register to me until 8:30 p.m. on Wednesday. What an unbelievable whirlwind this all is proven to be.
Yeah, I mean, neither team, whether it's the Panthers or the Heat, played this well in the regular season, and to their credit. I mean, now, on the Heat side, they've gotten a couple of breaks that the Panthers certainly have not gotten any of those breaks. So I'm more impressed with the Panthers, clearly, eliminating those two monsters that they've eliminated. But to the Heat's credit, man, Milwaukee has the slip up with the injury. And then when Giannis comes back, they beat him 2 straight times. So they took advantage of it. The Knicks are, nothing special. It's a team that was beatable, and they went out and did their job and won that series. So it's just incredibly impressive to see that they're at this point. But here's where now they enter kind of the Panther zone. They're not getting any breaks here. Now they're facing the best team in the conference, and they're healthy pretty much. So now this is going to be a full-blown test for the Heat from beginning to end. So it'll be really interesting to see how Butler and the boys actually handle all of this, because this is going to be incredibly tough. But the good thing is Boston's a little inconsistent, so they could also open up the door for the Miami Heat sometimes.
Well, you know what? I actually consider the comparisons pretty equal because remember, the Bruins were without Patrice Bergeron early in that series, and he's damn good. So same thing with Antetokounmpo.
So loaded.
He's still their leading man. Milwaukee had a great season. Second round, I find similar for this reason. These are two cursed playoff teams, the Maple Leafs and the Knicks. They never win in the playoffs. So it's this game.
But the top 4 of the Maple Leafs cannot even be compared to the top 4 of the Knicks.
You know what? I would have said that before, but the top one of the New York Knicks.
In fact, their 1 star is better than all 3 of the Knicks stars. So
I don't know. You know what? I would have said that to go into the series. I think what Jalen Brunson showed me changes things. He played on a Donovan Mitchell type level. I didn't see that coming. Now, if you're going to say Julius Randle's garbage, I'm not going to argue with you. If you're going to say Mitchell Robinson has some Hassan Whiteside in him, I'm not going to argue with you. But the fact is that it's sort of similar, that the Leafs are a cursed team, still a cursed team. The Knicks are a cursed team, always will be a cursed team. So you wind up with that. But yes, you're right. The Heat went from the highest level to a lower level back to a high level, where for the Panthers, it's been quality all along. I do agree with that, Big O. And I hope that the Heat, I don't want to say got overconfident against the Knicks, but they realize it's going to take a complete different level against Tatum, against Brown, against Williams, against Smart to win this series than the Knicks. The Knicks are just another team. They were overrated. They have a very good coach who pushed him with his tight rotations as much as he could. But yeah, I think the Heat definitely got a break in that second round. Would have been a hell of a lot tougher if they wound up playing Cleveland instead.
Let me ask you something, because obviously Jimmy has to be special in order for you to win night in and night out. Did it feel like he didn't have the amount of gas he had in the tank in the first couple of games against the Knicks than he did in the back end in the last 2? Because all the players around him kind of stepped up and kind of helped him out, especially in that last game. Bam supported him. Some of the other guys came through. Lowry, some of these guys actually, they've done a really good job around him, supporting him. I was a little concerned, with Butler not having the same kind of energy towards the end of that Knicks series.
All right, and I can fill you in to a degree, but I don't want to violate a confidence here. It was not the ankle. It was not fatigue. Jimmy Butler slept the wrong way the night before the game. I know this sounds like BS to you. That's why I didn't play it up.
Oh, no, that could happen to any of us.
And he was off, and he had an ailment, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to be the one to release it. It's sort of like, I could tell you he had an upper body injury if we're talking about like hockey, just a minor ailment. But he was not himself in that game, and he pushed himself through. Might wind up in the injury report, it might not. But here's the good thing, Big O. It was not the ankle, and it was not fatigue. He just had the kind of thing that old people like Orlando Alzugaray, Ira Winderman, and 33-year-old Jimmy Butler get sometimes. The good thing is he had the time off. These 5 days have been huge or will be huge by the time he gets to Wednesday night. Here's my concern, Orlando, when I wrote about this.
I don't know. At least I didn't read it wrong.
Right,
that
you were right.
he did not
He
have
wasn't
the
himself.
energy. When I was looking at it, I'm going, he's not himself.
Yes,
Luckily, you weren't playing a team that was,
good.
So thank God.
Yeah, you're totally right on that. Here's my concern, and I wrote about this at the Sun Sentinel, my Ask Ira this morning. All of a sudden now, there's no 2-day breaks. It's play, travel, play. So now the minor injuries we saw in previous rounds, when you had the 2-day breaks during the Bucs series, the breaks during the Knicks series, you're not going to have again the entire Eastern Conference Finals. Play off, usually with travel there. So now if Jimmy does have an ankle or it is something else, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Fatigue's going to be a problem. Interestingly, Boston only went 7 deep last night.
You're getting 5 days off.
Ahead of time. No, you're going in rested. But I'm saying it's not fatigue, it's an ailment. You turn that ankle 48 hours, you got to be ready later. That's the difference in this series. And again,
I got you, but at least you didn't win the series 1 day off, and then you started the next series.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It's
no, they'll be as healthy as they can. Still no Victor Oladipo. Highly doubt Tyler Hero in this round. Tyler even told us NBA Finals more likely. You know what's funny, Big O? When Tyler told us about his surgery, broken right hand surgery, and we were talking in Milwaukee, God, like a month ago now, and he says, I don't think I'll be ready for the conference finals. I'll be ready for the finals. And let's face it, we almost took that as the height of arrogance. Oh, how nice. You're going to the finals. Well, now it's possible. And here's, to me, is one of the craziest things about this year's playoffs. If the Lakers beat the Nuggets, don't think they will, but if they do, the Miami Heat, a number 8 seed, will have home court advantage in the NBA Finals. That just blows my mind.
But, well, one more thing.
Sure.
Heat Nation, we are rooting for the Lakers.
Oh, absolutely.
Home court advantage for the Miami Heat folks.
Yes, that's what I said. They struggle against Jokic. They've played LeBron well. 6-game series in 2020. Yeah.
Root, baby. Heat Nation out there, root, man, because you know what? This would be the karma we need.
Right.
Because what happened in the effing bubble was bullshit. That Bam and Goran get injured because one thing you cannot deny at that moment, Stella had her groove, bro. And there's something about chemistry that when a team has chemistry, 03 Marlins, you gotta let it play out because anything can happen when a team is on a groove.
Sure.
And dude, the Heat was on a groove. They were playing with maximum confidence at that moment. And when the Bam and Goran injury happened, and they still took the Lakers to 6.
Yeah,
I'm with Riley on that one. You're just gonna sit there forever going, what if, dude, if they were healthy, and what if Miami gets to the Lakers in the finals and they get their revenge on the Lakers? That would be, because let me tell you something. I might be a little, nervous about this series. I'd be nervous about the Denver series, but I got to tell you something. There's a little bit of me that says, I think they got a shot against the Lakers.
I do. And you know what's important here, Big O? The whole bubble fraud thing that people spoke about 2020. Well, let's go back there. Who were the final 4 teams in the 2020 bubble? The Heat, the Celtics, the Lakers, the Nuggets. The same 4 teams we're seeing this year. So those were quality teams then, mostly the same roster, quality teams right now. So you can see what endures.
The Heat have been to the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of 4 years.
Exactly. So the Heat have been real. Yeah. So what they have done mostly with this core, again, the 2 leading men, Bam and Jimmy, still the core of this team. Tyler obviously out now, but pretty much the same. They've added pieces. They've lost pieces. PJ Tucker from last year. We'll see how that plays out if Boston goes smaller in this series. But what the Heat have shown is they find a way. They find a way to get through it when it matters the most.
Yeah. The one constant is the head coach. the guy that has to figure everything out and change everything. And while you keep changing the names and all that, and you don't give him enough stars, he's still putting you in places you shouldn't be, because there's no other coach in the NBA that would put this team in the Eastern Conference Finals 3 out of the last 4 years. And I
And
truly
especially
believe
now, imagine being a rookie coach in Boston, your first Eastern Conference Finals. Here's what's crazy. Matter of fact, you make a good point there, Big O, about Spo. The Heat have played Boston 3 of the last 4 years in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics have had a different coach every year. Brad
3
Stevens
out of
moved
4.
up. Excuse me?
3 out of 4.
Right, 3 out of 4, and they've had a different coach every year. Brad Stevens, 2020, he went to the front office. Ime Udoka last year, he had the problem there with personnel, with the front office there. He's out. Joe Mazzulla now, 34-year-old rookie coach. The constant is Eric Spoelstra. Look at the Lakers. They were coached by Frank Vogel in the bubble. Now they're coached by Darvin Ham. Denver's had the consistency with Michael Malone, and they played to that consistency. It's crazy. We're seeing all these NBA coaches fired. I think Doc Rivers probably is next out. I heard you talking about it when you started the Big O show today before our Acura Pembroke Pines report, and what he's done in Game 7s and all of that. But you can see what consistency does. It adds a level of trust. You know who you are, how you're going to play, and what you're going to do. Michael Malone has shown that in Denver when you last with a coach. Eric Spoelstra, twice as long, has shown that with Miami.
Is his dad, Brendan, still with us? I'm not even sure.
I think so. I know he was an assistant coach with the Detroit Pistons when he was there with the New York Knicks. And yeah, it's in his lineage, but so is with Eric Spoelstra. His father, John, was a longtime NBA executive also. So these are coaches who grew up in the NBA.
His dad was an NBA coach. So I'm just saying it must be like, he must be super proud to watch his son, turn into a hell of a coach, and done a great job over there in Denver. It's more about Jimmy be the star and everyone else play their role, right? That's the way we got to look at it. We got to stop looking at, hey, Bam, be the second star. Hey, Tyler, be the second star. Hey, no. I think it's a matter of the entire cast doing their job around Jimmy, and then starring in this movie tonight will be Caleb. Tomorrow night it'll be, I hope Gabe. By the way, is Gabe still on the milk carton? Because we
No, his defense has been so great. He's been not on a milk carton, because on the other side of the court, I know you're saying Brunson got those points. His shooting has fallen off since Game 2 against the Knicks. Not going to lie about that.
In this series, they need Gabe Vincent's shot, because
they need Gabe Vincent. They need Max Strus. They need Caleb Martin. So this is what I do. I look at the Heat supporting cast as a poo-poo platter of options. Doesn't have to be everyone every game. Remember, Game 7 last year against Boston, Caleb Martin didn't even play. Gabe Vincent was a reserve. So what you need for the Miami Heat is this. From Max Strus, I'm going to even put Duncan Robinson in there, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin. Yes. You need 2 supporting guys, at least, to step up. And remember this, Big O. Tyler Hero only came back for Game 7 against Boston. He had the groin injury, played like 6 minutes, wasn't himself. But Victor Oladipo was a big part of that series. He's missing now also. So 2 supporting components you had last year in Tyler Hero to a limited degree, and Victor Oladipo to a significant degree are now gone. So you're going to have other guys step up, because you know what? The best of Jimmy on most nights will be offset either by the best of Tatum or the best of Jaylen Brown, because they got 2 guys. So the Heat have to find, by committee, a second guy to offset Jaylen Brown and give them something. Different guy every game. Maybe a different guy all 7 games. They have that possibility.
Yeah, it has to be at least 2 of those role players.
Yes,
have to step up every single. And Bam, if he's not finishing offensive plays for you, every night he has to be Bam, setting picks, assisting, if he can block a shot or 2, defending people. He's got to be himself in that sense on every night basis, which I think he is. It's the offense that comes and goes.
You know what? I'm going to take it a step further. Al Horford's not a great offensive player, mostly a 3-point shooter. Robert Williams has no offense outside of the alley-oop dunks that he catches. Bam has to outscore whatever big man he's playing against at the minimum. Again, Horford's not going to give you more than 12 points. Robert Williams won't give you more than 10. Bam has to give you 18. That's not a great number for a playoff series. That's not a beta in today's NBA when you have a 30-point scorer and a 25-point scorer. But if every single game, if either Al Horford or Robert Williams have more points than Bam Adebayo, then the Heat are in trouble. So again, I'm not asking the world.
I almost feel like Love is the one that has to match those timely threes that Horford's going to shoot, because that's what Horford seems to do. He seems to add 1 or 2 timely threes in a stretch down at the fourth quarter, stuff like that. And I think they're going to need that from Love. Love's going to have to come up with a couple of those timely threes in a game to kind of offset what Horford does. Because it's not Bam's game, you know what I mean?
That's a good point. There's also a chance Kevin Love doesn't play much at all in this series for this reason. If Boston stays the way they were in the last 2 games with Horford and Robert Williams starting, of course Kevin Love starts. But Boston has played most of these playoffs with a lineup of Horford, Jason Tatum at the 4, Jaylen Brown at the 3, Derek White at the 2, and Smart at the 1. You cannot have Kevin Love in a starting lineup guarding Jason Tatum. So you say to me, no problem, Ira, put him on Horford. I'm fine with that, except Big O, I do not want Bam Adebayo starting defensively on Jason Tatum. That's a lot of running through screens. That's a lot of fouls. You can't afford that. I think if they go back to their small lineup, which I think Boston should, I think you're starting Caleb Martin at the 4. Eric Spoelstra has adjusted through the playoffs during his time. Then all of a sudden, Bam can guard Horford, doesn't have to worry about foul trouble, and Caleb Martin can guard Tatum.
Yes.
You can put Jimmy Butler on Jaylen Brown. You can put Gabe Vincent on Derek White. You can manipulate Max Strus either on Smart or Derek White and work it that way. Look, Strus is still going to have trouble defensively, but he fought pretty well in the Knicks series. So to me, the key is if Boston goes big, Kevin Love is fine. He can guard Robert Williams or Al Horford. If they go small and you have to put Kevin Love on Horford, I do not want to open defensively with Bam on Jason Tatum. It's too much of a risk. I don't want my best defender on the bench with 2 fouls 5 minutes into a game.
All right. Can't let you go without asking you about Ja Morant. Oh, Morant? What is it, Morant or is it Morant? I'm sorry.
If it's the French pronunciation, I'll let you go with that one.
All right, Ja Morant. Talk to us. What's wrong with this kid? Does he not get it?
You know what? It's not what's wrong with this kid, and I hate to put stuff off like this. When you make that kind of money and you have that kind of investment between your agent, between your endorsements, you have to have people around you. It's in life, Big O. It's your marriage. It's my marriage. It's good businesses. It's the Heat front office. You have to surround yourself with the right people. One of the hardest things that executives do is they bring in a player for an interview. You do it at the NFL Combine when you go. The NBA is going on right now in Chicago. And you interview the player. And you see mentally and background what he's all about. And you go from there. But it's managing the entourage. It's managing the associates that gets you in trouble. So yes, Ja Morant has made some really bad decisions. But you know what, Big O? The people around him have either allowed or facilitated those decisions. Big O, it's just like with my son or your daughter. You want them hanging
at that age, you can't control it anymore, Ira. You know, as
that's what I'm saying is with my son or your daughter, you say to,
not that we have that problem with our kids,
right?
But once they get to a point that they're adults, they can do what they want, and so you can tell them many times, "Yo, don't hang around with this idiot."
Yes.
And then they're still going to hang around, and that's obviously
that's what a good front office does.
With dog shit, you know.
That's what a good front office does. Is they strongly get in someone's ear. They put their own person there. You know, I don't want to say a babysitter because that's not fair to players, but they have their person there. The Heat have so many director of player programs. They have so many guys available. Kenny, I forget his last name right now, is one of the players. Alonzo Mourning is always there as a mentor. Put the right people around players. You don't wind up in these kind of problems. Instead, when you let the players hang out with the wrong people, this is what you wind up with. And we always find out it's the 1 or 2 guys in the mix that ruin it for everyone. So I almost think that the Grizzlies have to have their own Ja Morant personal assistant also, because he is too good a player for them to lose.
So what you're saying is you're expecting a lot of Ask Ira questions. Let's trade for John Morant. Is that
Well,
what
you
you're
know the
saying?
Heat. You know how that works. Pat Riley's school for the wayward basketball player. Memphis can't afford to let him go. Memphis has to get this right. But you know what? I think you're talking at a lengthy suspension. Adrian Wojnarowski was talking about that at the start of the season for Ja, because when you get called into the principal's office and you do everything the principal tells you and you sign that sheet or make that verbal vow it won't happen again, and then you go back to Adam Silver's office, there's not that much grace the second time around. I think the Grizzlies will be screwed at the start of next season.
What do you think? 30 games?
No, that's too long. I think 10 games at that salary is a lot. You know, that'll be an
I don't
eighth
care
of the
about the
season.
salary. 10 games is not enough.
Well, I just think
it's got to hurt the season. It's got to hurt him. It's got to. I would say I would at least no less than a third of the season. I would suspend it. You have
again,
to learn a really good lesson.
okay, but the gun didn't go off at a club. No one was actually hurt in the filming of this incident. So you also have a union involved.
You can't know, but it's the message it sends. And you're representing a corporation. You're sending messages to kids that it's cool to be acting like that. And Lord knows how many of those guns fall off your hand at that moment. They go off to whatever, mistakes happen, and then they see Ja Morant doing the same thing, and they say, well, if Ja does it and does those moronic things, I should do them too.
So then, you know what I would say, Big O? I would phrase the release this way. John Morant has been suspended for at least the first 10 games of the 23-24 season. Let him work through the process. See how this plays out. See if he reaffiliates himself with others. And then you can take it from there. And then after that, it's double super secret probation, where it's instant after that. So I would phrase it that way, that John Morant has been suspended for at least the first 10 games of the season. And then I would go from there.
Interesting. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heapy. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. What are you doing on the Sentinel leading up to game time?
I just posted a story telling people, even though it's the same matchup 3 times in 4 years, it's different. The Celtics have home court this time. PJ Tucker's not with the Heat anymore. The Celtics have added Malcolm Brogdon. The odds have changed. Boston's the team with all the expectations now after losing in the finals last year. The Heat are 6-1 underdogs in the series, 8-point underdogs at the start. So that changes. The rotation is different. That players who were injured last year are back. Gabe Vincent's a starter. So it is a different look in the series. And also, so much of the rivalry, the ugliness has dissipated. No more Danny Ainge, so no more Pat Riley STFU. All of a sudden, Ray Allen has made his grace with the Celtics players, so there's not that antipathy now. Yes, Bam did make the block on Jason Tatum 3 years ago, but Bam and JT are pretty close right now. So I think the antipathy of Heat Celtics will just come down to quality competition. So that's posted at sunsentinel.com right now. Also did my Ask Ira, like I spoke to you about. There's only a 1-day break between games. You damn well better not get hurt in the series. Really interesting, Big O. The Celtics only trusted 7 players yesterday against the Sixers. Not even not Robert Williams, rather the other Williams there didn't even play in that game until garbage time. Grant Williams. So it's interesting. This is when it gets tighter. Eric Spoelstra, remember, was playing 10 players every game. Went to 9 last game. Would not be surprised 8 or 7. The stakes are the highest. You play your best players. I think it's going to be a different look than last season, but I think maybe just as competitive.
Does Doc survive?
I don't think Doc wants to survive. And I've been told, and I'm not doing this, sources tell me, but I've been told Doc already has set up interviews elsewhere. I would not be surprised if Doc Rivers winds up next season as the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Wow. Okay.
And everyone is looking for Monty Williams. The Sixers want him. The Raptors want him. The Bucks want him.
Are people meddling into James Jones' business now?
James Jones won't be there much longer. Now, that is a purely non-James Jones move. And someone like James Jones, who has the level of pride he has, you know what, Big O? It's like someone coming into you when you go back to terrestrial radio 10 years from now and telling you, we don't want Sean or we don't want your people. You're like, no, I'm doing it my way. I deserve the respect for you not to tell me what to do. That was not James Jones. James Jones put his name on the release. James Jones did not fire Monty Williams. The James Jones I know, that I dealt with in Miami, who lives here in Broward, who I deal with rather frequently when I'm out in Phoenix, would not have fired Monty Williams. That is, hey, I'm an owner. I got a lot of money. I got into a fight already with Nikola Jokic. I'm going to do what I want. God help the Suns.
By the way, no shot I ever go back to terrestrial rate. Like, no shot. Like, zero.
You know what?
Okay?
We'll make it worth your while.
No. Never. Seriously, never. I mean, no. It's not even worth my while.
Right,
There's only one thing I would do, Ira. There's only one thing I would do because I'd never done it before, and I would love to do it. Is I'd like to be a rock DJ. That's the only thing that I would like to do just for fun. That's it. Everything else I've done on sports side, so I don't.
Well,
really
I'll turn
this
on Sirius.
is the most satisfying thing I've done. Period.
I'll turn on Sirius, and when you're on Classic Rewind, I'll be listening. So
Sirius is not terrestrial. Okay, that's satellite.
It still comes in my radio. Look, as long as you protect Sean better than James Jones protected Monty Williams, I have no issue.
Sean's always going to be, as long as Sean wants to be with me, he's always going to be with me. Now that goes wherever I go, Sean goes. That's for sure. If not, I don't go anywhere. That's for damn sure. But my point is, satellite maybe, terrestrial never. By the way, I'm going to send you a thing on Odyssey that they just sent me this morning, so you could just read and laugh because it's bad. Anyway. We will talk next week, my friend. Enjoy the basketball. Appreciate it.
Catch you next week in our Acura Pembroke Pines report. Thanks, Big O.
You got it. There you go. That is your Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat and NBA report. Go to 15601 Pines Boulevard, folks. They got a large selection of brand new and certified pre-owned vehicles. Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone. Tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you at the finest dealership in the business, baby. Number one volume sales dealership in the United States. It's Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.